Hello everyone, welcome to another reaction / review of My Little Pony. Now, before we start, there's just something I need to do. Several months ago, someone asked me if I could include their OC in my video briefly, and I said sure, why not? So, Ken Parker, if you're watching, I'm a bit late in doing what I said I would, but I'm doing it now.
Can I have my Lyra plushie now?
This plate represents your head, this spoon is your heart, and the knives are sharp. Always be careful with knives.
Well, Twilight, you may not have been able to slip in a friendship lesson, but you were able to fit in a safety lesson for the younger viewers of the show. Well done, Nick Confidone.
Let's see. Make new friends in Ponyville, the friendliest place in Equestria.
I'm stopping here not because of what Starlight is saying, but because I find the balloon that Colgate is holding quite interesting. So that balloons stay upright, we put helium in them. What I find interesting here is that she's holding the entirety of the balloon in her magic, not just the string it's attached to. Which means it's not running on helium. So, is Equestria running out of helium as well? Did it ever have helium in the first place? Am I according way too much importance to a balloon?
Come on, I'll introduce you.
This scene doesn't make any sense. Let me explain why. Rainbow has performed several Rainbooms over the years, but never have we seen her perform a regular sonic boom. So the speed necessary to break the sound barrier would logically be superior to the speed necessary to perform the Rainboom. Here's where things stop making sense. If I'm right, and sound is faster than magic, then we should have seen a Rainboom as well as a sonic boom. But we didn't see any Rainboom whatsoever. So sound in Equestria can't be faster than magic. And neither can they be the same speed, because otherwise we would have seen a Rainboom instead of a sonic boom. The non-existence of sound in Equestria could have been a plausible theory, if it weren't for the fact that Rainbow just performed a sonic boom, and the fact that, we can hear birds and ponies talking, and we know that magic exists. So the only conclusion I can draw from this is that I just wasted all of your time by trying to apply science to a show about ponies. Thank you very much. Kudos to the animators for the rippling effect of the sound wave. It was very cool. It's like Lullaby for a Princess levels of dedication there. And I might as well throw in a link to a video about a fan theory on how the Rainboom works. It's more scientific than my little speech, and actually quite interesting. Go check it out, it's definitely worth watching.
Well, you did say any pony, and I just assumed that you'd trust me to make my own friends the way Princess Celestia trusted you.
Starlight's right. In Magic Duel, Trixie had apologized to Twilight for all of the problems she had caused, and even thanks Twilight for getting the amulet off of her. They had left on rather good terms. I don't see why Twilight would doubt Trixie when she basically had done the same thing that Starlight did when she took over Ponyville with the Alicorn amulet. In fact, Trixie should be less doubted than Starlight, because while Trixie realized that what she had done was wrong, apologized for it, and decided to go on an apology tour in Equestria, instead of trying to get revenge on the main six, Starlight refused to admit that what she had done was wrong, and tried to get revenge on them for stopping her. I think that Twilight is being extremely unfair towards Trixie. She knows why Starlight acted like she did. She hasn't even considered trying to find out why Trixie acted like she did.
I heard what Twilight said about me, and she's right. I wasn't very nice. So I'd understand if you didn't want to be friends.
I honestly believe that Trixie is trying to better herself. She's admitting that Twilight was right and that she had done something wrong. In itself, that's the first step to making sure you don't make the same mistake again, realizing that you made a mistake. Important life lesson here.
Can you keep a secret?
What are friends for?
The things I've done, I did them because I was jealous of Twilight. She's just the best at everything, and I wanted to beat her at something. Your secret's safe with me. Thanks.
And here Trixie admits to the root of her problem with Twilight. She knows that she's jealous. Knowing what's wrong is the first step towards trying to make it right, I think. Like in the episode Green Isn't Your Color, if Twilight and Trixie just talked about how they felt and what they were thinking, they could end up being friends too, and this whole problem would have been avoided.
Want to help me unpack my wagon?
I feel that Trixie asking Starlight if she wants to help her unpack her wagon is very important. The wagon is probably the only thing she has and might just be her most prized possession, or more accurately, what's in it. Her whole life is probably in that wagon. Asking Starlight if she wants to help seems like the beginning of trust. And I don't feel that Trixie really trusted anyone until she met Starlight.
Maybe I can help. I'm pretty good at organizing stuff. Magic props, brainwashed crowds.
So Starlight has obviously shared her past with Trixie, and that means that the trust is mutual. And the fact that she can make jokes about it with some pony who actually gets that it's a joke is good for Starlight, because Twilight didn't get that Starlight was joking. Finally, I can make a reference to something.
But you're wrong about Trixie. She's just like me. We have a real connection. That's kind of what I'm afraid of.
Starlight's right. By saying that, Twilight, you're not showing a lack of trust in Trixie, but a lack of trust in Starlight. You're saying that you think Trixie might try to, shall we say, bring Starlight back to the dark side, and that Starlight would actually fall for it.
Oh, now he'd be perfect!
Twilight is really failing as a teacher in this episode. The moment when she looked down could have been a part where she realized that she was making a mistake, that she had upset her friend, and where this could have all turned around. But then she just kept going, trying to find a different friend. And I feel like Starlight is the teacher in this episode, and Twilight is the student. And I actually think that Starlight would be a better teacher because she's experienced being on the wrong side and knows what it feels like to be doubted. And therefore, if she ever got a student, she wouldn't express her doubts, but keep them for herself, at least. I think that Trixie understands the lesson Twilight was trying to teach Starlight about not using magic all the time. Trixie could use her magic to move that crate, but she's doing it without magic. She can probably teach that lesson to Starlight better than Twilight can.
We're gonna blow them away tonight!
Actually, you're the one who's going to be blown away, Trixie. You know, because canon and being blown... Oh, never mind. I'll leave the jokes to the professionals from now on.
Starlight Glimmer? I thought you said nose hair trimmers. What's going on?
I was wondering the same thing, because why isn't Matilda with you at this dinner? As funny as this scene is, I just can't help but wonder where your wife is. Okay, you can all see Pinky and AJ down there, right? It seems to me like those two are the only ones who are willing to give Trixie a second chance. I mean, I don't see the other three members of the main six down there. Or maybe they're just busy. I mean, Fluttershy has her animals, Rarity has her shop, Rainbow Dash is probably taking a nap somewhere. So, yeah, I guess they're busy. Had to miss it. I can't imagine them being very upset about it, though.
This is gonna be the greatest night of my life! Excuse me, our lives.
Our lives.
That sounded weirder than I had planned for it to be.
Ah! Ha! You still don't trust me. But guess what, princess? It doesn't matter if you want to give me a second chance or not. Starlight had to choose between you and me. And she chose me. Your pupil chose me. So, I win.
You win? That sounds like you just made friends with me to beat Twilight.
Exactly.
Trixie, you definitely need to work on your negative feelings towards Twilight. You just hurt Starlight, and you've lost a lot of respect that you gained for going on your apology tour, for me anyway. You have a lot of work to do before I can like you again.
Wait! I mean, no! I got caught up in the moment. I like you.
Trixie's at least realizing that she made a mistake and is trying to explain herself to Starlight. There's still a chance to turn this around.
Beating Twilight is just a bonus. Oh, saying that didn't help, did it?
I should have known. No pony else in Ponyville wanted to be my friend. Why would you?
Oh, for goodness sake!
You just don't know when to stop talking, do you, Trixie? Although, kudos to the animators again. The tears are streaming down her face instead of just amassing in her eyes like they usually do. Trixie, you made Starlight cry, and I really don't like you anymore. You're still a great character, but I don't like you.
Well, you won. I hope you're happy.
Looks like the great and powerful Trixie is back to a solo show.
Trixie?
Which is exactly the way she likes it. Thank you, Princess Twilight, for getting rid of that annoying pony who wanted to be my first friend. I am not sad at all. I definitely don't feel like my heart is breaking into a million pieces.
Oh great, Trixie's crying too. While making Starlight cry was completely Trixie's fault, it was Twilight's fault that Trixie started crying. She, as the Princess of Friendship, should have realized that Starlight and Trixie were actually friends and that Trixie was genuinely upset. Twilight should have tried to comfort Trixie instead of goad her.
Behold, your fears come true. A pony-eating manticore.
I don't get why Fluttershy is that scared. She's faced Nightmare Moon, a dragon, a cockroaches, Discord, a changing invasion, the maniac, T-Rex, a bugbear, and a Tantibus. Why is she afraid of a manticore? Something she's faced before, might I add. And this one's chained up. Oh, and apparently Fluttershy did decide to give Trixie a second chance. Twilight really should do what her friends are doing and give Trixie the benefit of the doubt.
For tonight, the great and powerful Trixie will be performing the Moonshot Manticore Mouth Dive.
Both AJ and Pinky know that Trixie's a bit of a fraud. I guess they're just looking forward to seeing her get eaten by a manticore. Or maybe I've got them all wrong and they're actually cheering her on and hoping that she can do it. You know what, I prefer to think that that's the reason why they're cheering. It suits their personalities better.
When I first came to Ponyville, Princess Celestia gave me room to make my own decisions and my own friends. I need to give you the same freedom. I shouldn't have tried to pick and choose your friends for you. Just like me, you have to make your own decisions and your own friends.
But that's exactly what Starlight told you halfway through this episode. And the last part about Princess Celestia giving you the space to be independent? That's what Spike told you at the end of the season premiere. Your friends are teaching you lessons, but you're not listening to them.
But what if Trixie really was using me just to one-up you? From what I've seen, she's the real thing.
This is quite the role reversal. At the beginning, Twilight doubted Trixie while Starlight believed her, and now Twilight believes Trixie while Starlight is doubting her.
But it's not my place to judge. It's all up to you.
You should have kept that in mind since the beginning, Twilight. And you're not even apologizing. I can't believe this, but Twilight's slowly turning into Celestia. Her role as princess apparently makes her believe that she doesn't need to apologize. If becoming a princess does this to someone, I hope that neither Sunset or Starlight ever become princesses.
Starlight, if you're out there and you still want to be friends, let's be great and powerful together. Please?
Well, she may not have apologized for hurting Starlight, but at least she said please. And in the words of Phineas Nicholas Black, please always helps.
Behold, the page and growlful Trisky!
I'd love a t-shirt that says the Pate and Growlerful Trisky with Trixie's face at that exact moment. And why didn't AJ, Pinky, or Fluttershy go to help Trixie? It was obvious that she didn't live the teleportation very well. But at least they cheered her. It is an impressive feat after all.
And now, I'm proud to introduce my great and powerful assistant and best friend, Starlight Glimmer.
I'm glad that Starlight forgave Trixie. Trixie really did want to be friends with her, and I'm glad that she realized it.
Trixie, what do you want?
I was wrong, and I'm sorry.
I'm really glad she apologized. Twilight's back to her usual self, and all is right with the world. I guess she's not turning into Celestia.
How do you get your hair to do that all the time?
That was rather rude of you, Celestia. It was a perfectly reasonable question. It's probably the first thing I'd ask you after who are your parents and where do you come from. I could replace your sigh with the word peasants, and it wouldn't be any ruder. Ooh, peasants. So that was no Second Prances. I have very mixed feelings about this episode. It was a very promising idea, seeing Trixie again, having her and Starlight become friends, but what killed it for me was Twilight. She was out of character. I would compare the way she was acting in this episode to the way she was acting in Lesson 0, where Twilight goes completely bonkers. But it's not exactly the same thing, because in Lesson 0, Twilight was still Celestia's student, she was still learning, and I think that she was still a bit of a young adult. But in this episode, she's a princess of friendship. She's independent of Celestia. And while she may not have learned all the lessons there are to learn on friendship, she's already learned the moral that she delivered at the end of this episode, giving Starlight the freedom to make her own decisions. Spike told Twilight that himself at the end of the season premiere. Maybe the fact that Celestia was coming to see how she was progressing in being a teacher brought her back to a time where she was still the student. And it's understandable that Twilight would want to make a good impression. But while that may be understandable, it doesn't make it alright. So I'd give this episode a cheddar, and not a very good one. Cheddar can be tasty, but it can crumble very easily, like the plot of this episode did a bit. And I'd also like to apologize to all the fans of Twilight and Celestia for any comments against your favorite princess. But we haven't exactly seen Twilight at her best in this episode, and towards the end, Celestia was just plain rude towards Cranky. That was my reaction/review of No Second Prances. This video may have been a bit longer than usual, but I rambled a bit too much at the beginning. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!